From the Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex, this is Time Out Overtime on the Time Out Overtime YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal. As usual, before we get started or do anything, please do me a favor, get down there in that corner and smash that like and subscribe button. You'll be doing me a huge favor. Thank you very much. Let's get right with it here and tell what we're going to be discussing here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Even though we've got some warmer weather, pardon me, I see some 70s coming in next week. The colder weather will be here to stay in the very near future. It's really closer than you want it to be. And that's where the service department at Frank Beck Chevrolet says now is the perfect time to make an appointment and make sure your vehicle is ready for the winter weather ahead. Let them check the strength of your battery, your belts and hoses, wiper blades, antifreeze, and more. Plus, now is the perfect time to get that new set of tires so you don't go skipping and sliding down a highway. And if you don't think your car will make it through another rough Michigan winter, let the sales pros at Beck's help you find a vehicle for all seasons. You know, the 2025s are rolling in on the lot nearly every day now, so their selection is tops. You can check out their inventory on their webpage at frankbeckchevy.com, or better yet, stop by the dealership on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville and let them help you experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. 517-849-2886. Frank Beck Chevrolet. Okay. Max Crosby spoke this morning. We'll get into that in just a second. A few things I want to get out of the way here. First, get you caught up on baseball. The Dodgers swamped the Mets last night 8-0. Ohtani hit a home run. So they're up 2-1 in that series now. Game 4. Pardon me. Game 4 will be tomorrow night. Game 3 of the Yankees-Guardians series will be tonight in Cleveland. Hang on just a second here. As I said, Game 3, Progressive Field tonight in Cleveland with the Yankees up 2-0. I predicted before the series started, right after the Guardians beat the Tigers, that they would get swept by the Yankees. And so far, I haven't seen anything to make me change my mind. I think that'll be over. I think the Yankees win tonight, and I think they win again on Saturday. And I think they'll be resting for a while the Dodgers and the Mets battle it out. Yeah. You want my opinion right now? I think that the Tigers were better than the Guardians. It came down to Game 4 in the 7th inning. I'm going to beat a dead horse, folks, but it came down to that 7th inning with the Tigers up 3-2 with 2 outs. So they were 7 outs away from advancing, and Bo Brisky pitching to David Fry. He gives up a home run, and that changed everything right there. I think if Brisky gets him out, I think the Tigers win the series. But that's ancient history already, so we'll forget about that. Anyway, I think the Yankees win that series in 4. I think they win the next 2. Red Wings play tonight at LCA. A back-to-back rematch with the Rangers, who beat them Tuesday night 4-1. I think Cam Talbot is in net tonight. And I know it's only 3 games, but I don't have a very good feeling about what I've seen so far. But it's early, but I'm going to stick to my prediction. I do not think they will make the playoffs this year, and I think because of that, I think Derek Lalonde will be gone. I don't care what kind of a rapport he has with Steve Yzerman, but that's a long way off. Basketball. The Pistons finished the exhibition season with a winning record, 3-2. They will open the next Wednesday night, I believe, the 23rd, at home against the Indiana Pacers. JB Bickerstaff, I'm sure after his team won 13 games last year, is under no pressure to make the playoffs this year. But kind of like what I've seen in the exhibition season so far. But it's just that it's preseason, so we'll see. Once the curtain comes up and the lights go on next Wednesday night, we'll see what they look like. I like the direction they're headed. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year either. That would be a dramatic turnaround. They'd have to win they'd have to increase their win total by maybe 25 to 30 games from last year. That's not happening. Oh. All right. We got that out of the way. Lions pretty much had everybody practicing today with the exception of Carlton Davis. But Dan Campbell says he still expects him to play Sunday against the Vikings. That line, folks, was 2.5. Minnesota minus 2.5. Apparently, there's been a lot of money coming in on the Lions because it has shrunk to 1.5. And as I've said before, the home team automatically gets 3 points. So, seeing on the line is just 1.5 now. Las Vegas is telling you to pick them. That's pretty much what this game amounts to. And from what I'm seeing too, it's a 1 o'clock start. And the majority of the country will be seeing this game. They'll get this game piped into them. It's on Fox. The 4:25 game of the week, I believe, is on CBS. And, of course, that's the Super Bowl rematch with Kansas City and San Francisco. And I still don't think, boy. I love it. McCaffrey for the 49ers, I think, is still on the shelf yet. I don't think he's going to play Sunday. And then I think that they miss him more than anybody else on that team, more even than Kittle or anybody. So anyway, I haven't seen the line on that. Chiefs favorite? I think they are. I'm sorry I don't have that in my stats right now. But well, anyway, let's do this, and then. Max Crosby said something today that I want to talk about for a few minutes. And then also Jerry Reinsdorf, the 88-year-old owner of the Chicago White Sox, has apparently made it clear or public that the team is for sale. Or he's hinted at it anyway. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to put in a good word for a good man, as you know, Tim Lilly. At Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale, 37 Waldron Street. That's a couple hundred feet west of Howell. For all your technical needs, anything at all, this is the guy you want to see right here. We are so fortunate to have someone of his knowledge and expertise in our area. Anything at all. Computers, new or used. Maybe the computer you have now needs a little work done on it. You're about to purchase or have recently purchased a flat screen TV that needs mounting and needs to be programmed. This is the guy you want to see. Maybe you're changing internet providers. You need internet installation. This is your man. Anything, printers, new or used. This is the guy you want to see. I don't know anybody that has any more technical knowledge than this man. And he's also one of the nicest men you'll ever want to meet. Again, 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale, 517-610-5372, or better still, get in there and see him. And when you do at 37 Waldron Street, tell him Maggie and I sent you. Would you please? Thank you. We're talking about Max Crosby. I'm going to get into this in a minute. Hang on. Before I talk about Crosby, too, I'd like to mention, as I said, Jerry Reinsdorf, the 88-year-old owner of the White Sox, apparently has said the team is for sale, or he could be swayed into selling, whatever. So there's an investment group headed up by former Major League pitcher Dave Stewart. I guess that would be the first in line to want to purchase the team. But there's more to the story here than just the White Sox being a bad team with a bad owner. The current owner, as I said, Jerry Reinsdorf, has said he wants a new ballpark. Guaranteed rate field, which is what it's called now, which opened in 1991. In fact, the Tigers played the first ever game there. Remember Frank Donata pitching a complete game shutout. The Tigers beat them that day 17-0. Cecil Fielder hit the first home run ever hit there. I think Tony Phillips had a couple of home runs. I think Rob Deere hit a home run. Anyway, the Tigers blanked them 17-0. That's beside the point. So 1991, that was what, 33 years ago? I was not aware of this, but Guaranteed Rate Field is now the fifth oldest venue in Major League Baseball. The fifth oldest venue. Behind, of course, Fenway and Wrigley and Dodger Stadium and Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Then you've got Guaranteed Rate Field. What's a new ballpark? For someone who's been in that ballpark and sat in the upper deck, that upper deck to me is even steeper than the upper deck at Dodger Stadium. You're walking down those steps one by one of that upper deck in Guaranteed Rate. You've got the sensation you're going to go down head over heels. That's how steep it is. That's beside the point, though. I can. What would happen? Let's say if I can just see the press conference now. Dave Stewart or whoever their spokesman would be. Well, we're very happy to be the new owners of the Chicago White Sox, but we need a new ballpark, and if we don't get it, we're going to have to move the team. I'm hearing apparently the first choice would be Nashville. Look, the White Sox have always played second fiddle to the Cubs in Chicago. It's always been that way from day one. It always will be that way. It's in a relatively bad neighborhood. I don't know. Obviously, if they were to get a new stadium in that area, it would be out in the suburbs somewhere. Rather like what the Bears are doing with their new dome stadium. No, but that reminds me too. It was announced too that the Browns are leaving downtown Cleveland, and they're going out to the suburbs and getting a multi-billion-dollar dome stadium. I don't know how soon this is supposed to happen, but it will be happening. So that's where that's at right now. It's more than just a bad team in Chicago. Now they want a new stadium. So here you got the worst team ever in the history of baseball in terms of losses, in terms of wins and losses. And on top of everything else, they want a new facility. Good luck with that. Reinsdorf, before they built the stadium they're in now, was threatening to move to St. Petersburg. Tropicana Field was supposed to be his destination. Obviously, that fell through when at the 11th hour he reached came to an agreement with the city of Chicago. But he was threatening to move the team down to Tampa before he got a new stadium. So anyway, that's where that's at right now. Whatever happens in Chicago. Right, I doubt very much Reinsdorf will keep the team, but if he does, if he maintains ownership, or indeed this investment group, as I said, led by Dave Stewart, does come in and buy the team. Either way, either scenario, they want a new stadium. They want a new ballpark. I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't know in Cleveland. I don't know. They're moving out to the suburbs. I don't know how soon this is all going to happen. They'll be getting a dome stadium. So that will leave, as far as football venue goes, about the only team left in the Midwest, which will be playing outdoors, I think, will be Lambeau. Unless you want to consider Pittsburgh the Midwest. I don't. Anyway. Is that all I want to say about that? I think so. We'll get to Max Crosby. Shortly after the Raiders, a couple of days ago, traded Devontae Adams to the Jets, a deal which was no doubt orchestrated by Aaron Rodgers, who runs the team now. Jets are a dumpster fire. I hope you're happy with Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers looks like an old man. He has an offensive line in front of him that can't protect him. Every time he gets knocked down, it gets harder and harder for him to get up. He looks his age, maybe even a little more than that. But anyway, Antonio Pierce, first of all, I'll go back to what Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, said yesterday when asked about Max Crosby. Under no circumstances are we trading Max Crosby. That's pretty much what he said. That's not that's not an exact quote, but he made it clear. I'm not going anywhere. Hang on a second. Was it yesterday or earlier this morning or whatever, in a press conference? Raider head coach Antonio Pierce when asked to explain themselves, I guess, in regard to he wasn't asked. No one asked him why they traded Adams. Make a long story short, one of the reporters or media members there asked him, does this signify the start of a rebuild? He gave a one-word answer, no. And then an hour or two after that, while he was sitting in his locker, Max Crosby was holding court for a couple of minutes. He pretty much made it as far as rebuild. And again, Pierce denied that it was any part of a rebuild. Max Crosby, who was in the second year of a 4-year deal, $100 million deal, which is paying him $25 million a year. Keep in mind the Lions are $40 million out of the cap. Crosby, and this is a quote from him, said, "Wherever I'm going to be, I'm not going to be here to rebuild. I want to win now." That was a quote from him. You can go to Mike Florio on YouTube and see that interview, which lasted all of about 30 seconds, and then he gave a kind of a wry smile. But wherever I'm going to be, I'm here to win. I'm not here to rebuild. I want to win now. Wherever he's going to be, he wants to win now. He's not going to be part of a rebuild. Well, I don't think whether you're in the media out there in Las Vegas or even Max Crosby, I don't think you're gullible or naive enough to believe that if you're not rebuilding, what is this? You just traded one of your best players for a bag of beans, pretty much. So I mean, if this doesn't signify the start of a rebuild, Coach Pierce, what is it? I think Max Crosby's no dummy. He can see what's going on. And again, you can get this up on YouTube. Sitting in front of his locker. I'm not here to rebuild. Wherever I'm going to be, I want to win now. I'm not here to rebuild. That came from Max Crosby. The NFL trade deadline is 19 days away. Tuesday, November 5th. There's something else going on that day, isn't there? And maybe there is. I don't know. Now, and look, Crosby is from this area. He went to Eastern Michigan. But can you imagine if he were to come? What would it take to get Crosby here? If it sounds like a pipe dream, let's back up a minute and look at this. If you're Brad Holmes, let's say the next 2 or 3 years, a first-round draft pick, you've got so much young talent on this team now. Whoever you're drafting in the first round, and I don't care what position it is, where are they going to play? They're going to start? Where are you going to play them? Look at all that. I mean, they just extended Lee McNeil with a 4-year deal. A couple of days before that, they extended David Montgomery through 2027. Seems like every other week they're extending one of their young stars, and then they've got to extend Hutch. They've got to extend Laporta and Gibbs. Look, the point I'm trying to get at is, if I were them, I would offer the Raiders 2 first-round picks and James Houston, and maybe a third-round pick. We would get Crosby and a third-round pick. If that's not good enough, I'd give them 3. I'd give them your first-round draft pick the next 3 years, because what I'm saying is, think about it. Think about it for just a second here. Your first-round pick the next 3 years. I don't care who it is or what position it is. Where are they going to play? There's only one ball. You can't play everybody at the same time. This team has plenty of depth on both sides of the line. I can't, if your first-round draft picks are supposed to step in and start immediately. Given the circumstance on the Lions right now, I don't see a first-round pick. I don't care who the guy is. I don't see him coming in here and starting anytime soon in the next 2 or 3 years. Look, if you have to, trade them James Houston and your next 3 first-round picks for Crosby and a third-round pick this year. Why? Because the Lions don't have a third-round pick this year. Provided Mark Davis would even take that telephone call. But again, you can get this up on YouTube. Mike Florio of NBC. Max Crosby said this morning, or whatever time it was, they're 3 hours behind us. I'm not here to rebuild. I want to win now. I'm not going to be any part of a rebuild. Wherever I'm going to be. That's a quote from Crosby. All right, Brad, you got 19 days to get this done. You mentioned a defensive line next year of Hutch and Crosby at the ends, on the edge, and McNeil and Reeder in the middle. Oh, baby. You're looking at a dynasty for the next several years. What is Crosby? 27? I think Max is 27. He's a culture guy. He's a no-nonsense culture guy. And, of course, as you know, a magnificent player. Boy, that'd be a Lions fan's dream, wouldn't it? So I'll leave you with that to chew on. Like I said, you can get that up on YouTube. You see for yourself, but that's what he said. Okay, that's going to do it for now. Go get out there and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. We've got 70s coming our way next week. Maybe that'll be our Indian summer. So that's going to do it for now. We'll talk about a little bit more about this on Saturday morning with Andy and Jed. And I will talk to you again Saturday before the Michigan Illinois game, which I think is a 3:30 start. A little bit surprised Michigan is 3.5-point favorites in this game. As you know, Jack Tuttle will be starting. That's nothing new. He's been named the starter for the rest of the season by Sharon Moore. In his words, he gives us the best chance to win. I think he probably does. Well, Michigan State. I don't know what time that game is. They will host Iowa. I think they're 5.5-point dogs to Iowa. So I think I got you caught up on everything. Again, Andy and Chad Saturday morning, 9 to 10 here locally, WCSR 92.1 FM. I'll talk to you all again on Saturday. Until then, remember, please treat each other with respect. Have a good rest of your evening, and so long, everybody.